Well, good morning. I am Eileen McQuaid, if you haven't met me yet. I work at Westmont. And I just want to share with you a little bit about what a gift the Tuesday family nights were for myself, my husband Jim, and my daughter Rose. She was up there in the balcony. She's in fifth grade and really had a wonderful time in 56 Club. Now, let me tell you first, I heard about 56 Club before we restarted 56 Club here. I was at a doggy play date with a fellow mom from Cold Spring. And this mom, she doesn't go to church, as far as I know, and she said, if you ever hear 56 Club starting, let me know. Her youngest son, is in the same class as Rose. And I said, sure, yeah, definitely. I've heard some rumors, maybe it'll start. And she said, that was such an important group for my oldest son. And her oldest son is now a sophomore in UCLA. But when he was in 5th and 6th grade, all of the Cold Spring 5th and 6th graders went to 56 Club. It was just, they all went. And that was, one of those years was the years that the debris flow happened, and one of their classmates was tragically taken in the debris flow and lost her life. And 56 Club became the place that they were able to grieve, they gathered, they were able to process, and it was so important for them in that period of their life. And now he's a sophomore at UCLA, and when he comes back to town, she said, he doesn't get together with his high school friends. He gets together with his friends from 56 Club. So I was like, wow, okay, that's a really great testimony of someone who doesn't really go to this church at all. And she talked about how important this group was for her and her family. Well, a couple weeks later, 56 Club did start here, and Rose has been able to go. And here's just a few things that I am grateful for 56 Club. First of all, the gift of hospitality. Every single child that came onto campus that Tuesday night, every single parent that dropped off their kids, they felt welcomed. They lingered because they wanted to connect and they wanted to meet each other. The children loved to go. 56 Club started with, I think, 3 kids for about a few weeks, and by the end, it was about 22, something like that, because the children loved to come because they felt welcome and they felt like this was a place that they could really thrive. The second word is just connection. We're in a culture, we yearn for connection. We have this deep yearning for connecting with God and connecting with each other. And for kids, one way they connect is fun. I mean, they have a lot of fun in 56 Club, and kind of like that wild fun that only, 5th and 6th graders can have. So that was definitely, they always started out with just a really fun game, and that always made them want to come back every single week. One week, it was canceled because I think it was a Westmont spring break. And when I told Rose, she was like, she was so bummed because she loved coming. And then the last thing I just want to say about 56 Club is that they have conversations that matter. I mean, that's another yearning we have in this world, is we want to talk about the things that are meaningful and purpose-filled. And 56 Club always had a Bible study, and they always had this great conversation, and the Westmont students just did such a great job in drawing the students, the 5th and 6th graders, into that conversation to talk about Scripture. And they didn't shy away from Scripture. I mean, I'd ask Rose, what did they talk about today? And she, when Jesus, sent the demons into the pigs and then they ran down. I was like, whoa, okay, that's a really not shying away from hard Scripture there. But she said they always had really great conversation. And in the end, these were kids, most of them don't go to church. And so this is a place that they're finding out that God loves them, that Jesus is where they can find love and connection and ultimate purpose. So thank you for that. The other thing that also happened on Tuesdays is that while our kids were in 56 Club, we were welcomed into the Seversons' house for a conversation, and Beth and Mark and Jim Richardson and Kim led a conversation, and hospitality, connection, things that matter, all that is true. But let me just mention one other thing that I experienced was just relaxing. It was so relaxing. It was on a Tuesday. We were fed. We got to just go have tea and sit around and enjoy each other. So that was a real gift. So thank you for that. You're really sharing Jesus with with the families from Cold Spring, and I'm really grateful. Those are a lot of our friends. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adam Cambardella. I've got to meet many of you over the course of the last year. Often you'll find me, or pretty much every time I'm here, I'm back helping make sure that you hear everything that you're hearing. I was graciously brought in here by Dave Lemieux to be involved in the renovations that took place at this church. What I didn't understand at the time was that as much as the church needed me, I needed this church. I was born and raised in the Roman Catholic religion and went through all of the sacraments up until this point of my life. Catholic school at Our Lady of Mount Carmel down the street, Bishop Diego for high school. And I had kind of started to disconnect with my connection to God and Jesus. And what I didn't realize coming in here was that I was reminded often of the guidances on how to follow God in a renewed and refreshing way that Mark makes for us every Sunday. All right? My spirituality was renewed and improved with the lessons and the stories that I heard here at church. I was reminded again how to live a better life trusting in His guidance. Also, in the process of meeting many of you, I was constantly uplifted by my fellow believers in God and Jesus via our conversations and my renewed worship that I was able to get by being here, helping all of you worship better. Okay? So as I mentioned before, my MCC connections gave me my renewed sense of belonging in my life. It seemed not only that MCC needed me, but that I needed MCC. So thank you so much for all of you for being very welcoming, and I look forward to meeting those of you I haven't, and to continue the relationships that I've gained by coming to this church. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm so nervous to be up here and speak. My name is Shannon Betancourt. I can relate to a lot of what he said and Eileen, and I was also part of the Parents Club on Tuesday. And I just have a lot of thank yous to give too. If it wasn't for Kirsten, she never gave up on me. She always kept inviting me back to church. Our daughters are in the same class. And so when she mentioned basketball, I was like, yes, I'm there. So Elevate basketball program, really got me to start coming back to church, and also bringing my kids into church. So giving them a place to start learning about Jesus, and Jaren being so amazing. They love coming. They're not here today because my parents are in town, but they love coming, and it's just everyone here has been so welcoming. And I really appreciate it. Joel, he's always with a smile too, and he's been motivating me to get, like, are you doing basketball with us this year? I'm like, yeah, this season. So basketball has been Elevate has been a great program to bring in families that don't necessarily come to church either, but like when I am at my daughter's school, I've connected with so many families and asked them to come to church and asked them to come to Elevate, and it's been just a great journey so far. And with my own faith, I could say lots and lots of things, but I'm very thankful to be a part of this church and everyone. I mean, Mark and Beth so welcoming into their own home, and then the same just recently, Ashley welcoming me and some other women into her home. And a lot of my best friends and my family, they're not religious. They don't go to church, and so being around people with faith has helped me, and I'm hoping that that I can encourage my friends and family, to also encourage them to have faith and come back to church. So I just thank you so much for everything. Yeah.
Thought of why doesn't the church have a sports program? But I didn't know who the pastor was and didn't really have any connections to this church.
It was a really important ministry in my own kids' lives in a different context and in a different place. And my husband and I thought that this would be just a lovely community within which to start a program exactly like Elevate.
We have a very talented team of college student coaches, a growing number of parents who have been participating, and we had one of our highest enrolled seasons yet, and it's been a tremendous experience.
There's been some just fantastic outcomes. One would be the relationships on the team that have developed as different volunteers have participated. They've wanted to come back. Once they've come once, they've said, hey, can I come next week, or can I come in 2 or 3 weeks?
Sports is this amazing thing. It is a great equalizer in some ways. You can have people from totally different life situations coming together on the basketball court, and the parents that accompany them, very different spaces in life, socioeconomic, ethnic, all of the different categories that we have, and they find themselves together as a community cheering for the same kids.
One of the, I think, pivotal moments for me is when the Westmont women's basketball team came and the coach spoke to the kids, and to see her speak about not basketball, but the character of what it takes to play sports.
One thing I think that was really strategic is that staff built relationships with area principals. Just knocked on doors, called and asked for appointments, got to know them, found out what the needs were of that community, and we also tried to come alongside the schools and help if it works.
Because of Elevate's focus on character, we are equipping parents to have substantive conversations, not only with their children, but among each other. So often as parents, it's easy to default to conversations that are really about, well, what is your kid up to? Oh yeah, I have to run to soccer practice. But now there's actually a language and a starting point for talking about, hey, what's your take on integrity? What does character mean to you? What is respect?
Well, I think a recurring theme when I get a chance to talk with, parents one-on-one is just how grateful they are for this league, for the fact that they can come and enjoy in what they feel is a pressure-free environment where they can just enjoy. It's not too competitive. Their children are allowed to be who they are and to enjoy the sport in whatever capacity they do.
I've heard someone say that good works, like legit good works, generate goodwill, and goodwill generates opportunities to talk about the beauty of who Jesus is. And we've actually seen that progression take place. We're in a space where we want to give back to the community in ways that they would say, thank you. Thank you for partnering with us in the things that matter for us, for our kids, and for our family, and for our community. And there is a sense of, we're only three seasons in, just a little over a year, and there's a sense of goodwill that God has given to us that allows us to have conversations that I don't think any of us really anticipated we would have at this point in time.
Line there, right?
We didn't produce that. The denomination came in and heard about what God was doing here, and they said, could we come in and produce a video that we could show at the conference annual meeting? So at the conference annual meeting was the first time we got to see that, and we've just been waiting to be able to share with you just a celebration of all of the things that God is doing. And other churches in our conference that are really interested in doing something similar to that, to have that sort of a posture in the community where they can bless their community in a way that is just really encouraging to them and to us and to the Lord too. So that was really fun to be able to see that. And we'll make copies of that available. Maybe we'll put it on our Facebook page. I'm not sure yet. But that way you'll have it available to you if you're interested in that. Well, you've been hearing stories, and there's a theme to them. One is that God is doing some really remarkable things in our community, And the other part of it is it's changing my life. God is continuing to change my life. And so we would just like to open it up to any of you who might reference a particular way that God is at work in a dimension of our church community and the impact that it's had on your life, just very simply said. So the mic is open, and no one is primed except what God has primed your heart to say. So we invite you to come up and share a couple of comments with us before we go on. Das.
Good morning. My name is Das Williams, and I just wanted to take the opportunity, mainly because nobody else has stepped up yet, to thank all the love and support both before and after a very stressful election that my family and I received. And so many of you have been so reached out, and that really means a whole lot. And I also just love the energy that's happening at this church right now. I find it to be a real blessing. I've been a political organizer for a lot of my life, and so I have a critique of organizing always in any organization. And I feel like we're doing God's will as a church when you are asked more often than you want to be asked, right? Think about the alternative. The alternative is if you're asked less often than you want to be asked to come and be part of a community. That's not a good sign. And so the very fact that we're bothering each other more is a really good sign. My favorite organizing poem says, "Don't tell me not to bother you," and it's one of the best ways, one of the great culprits is sitting right here, because being invited into intentional parenting on Tuesday nights was just really wonderful, and all the activities that the Burdicks let us know about, and it's really good and healthy for the fabric of young parents here, and it's a great blessing.
Good morning, guys. I will say personally for myself, I came to Montecito Covenant not knowing what my church home was going to be while I was here at Westmont. And this has been an answered prayer just for me, but also for a lot of my friends. One of them that the Lord had called me to kind of mentor and walk with the Lord with, and she ended up getting baptized here at Montecito Covenant. On a whim, and just through walking with her in faith and praying for her and also some of her friends, she came to Montecito Covenant, actually brought me to Montecito Covenant, and then the last baptism session that you guys had, she got baptized, and I got to walk alongside her in that. And I do believe that for her, not growing up in the church and also coming from a background of no faith aspect, Montecito Covenant helped make that happen, and God used Montecito Covenant in powerful ways, and he's still not done. Many more testimonies to come for a lot of my friends who are also at Westmont. And God really spoke to me that he is moving here, and he's not done, and he's just begun. That's something that he's told me in my spirit multiple times, even walking from Westmont to here. I found scripture on the floor that confirmed that this is his home. And so I'm so excited and thankful for you guys for listening to his call and inviting me and welcoming me and all of my friends. And now her family's coming to Christ, and so is mine, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you all.
I want to speak just really briefly about the hospitality that is here, because it's insane. I've been here a year, and I as I just look around, I could probably single out all the people that have shown me amazing hospitality. You know, meals usually are involved in your house, or we go out. But I just want to you know who you are, and I will try to thank you in the coming months here while I'm still among you. But for today, I just want to single out just a few folks. The Rileys over here I've been in their house so many times that they named a suite after me. It's not done yet. They're constructing it, and I've given them lots of instructions on what needs to be in it. No, not true. But we've just become just close because of the time spent around their table, and both of them are amazing, and I'm looking forward to them coming through Denver in a few months. They're headed somewhere to go see, I think, their son, and we'll get to maybe return the favor a little bit. It'll be fun. And then Bill and Suzanne, you're going to enjoy their amazing gift of hospitality after today. But you don't know this, but I park my car at their house when I'm headed to the airport, which is often. And Suzanne brings me a little baggie of food every time. And I could go on because it's been an amazing year of that kind of thing. But I just want to say thank you. And then lastly, I don't know, Matthias, you and I need to work together on this because I'm going to look at this camera right here and talk to somebody who's watching the stream. So Lois, you're more than my landlord. You've become family, and you opening up your house to me for a year has really changed me. And I can't wait to see how our relationship develops going forward. But thank you so much for being an amazing part of this church, even though you haven't been able to be here but once in the 12 months that I've been here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following God's leading on your life.
Hi, my name is Leon. Just kidding. Ask for her. My name is Joel Banyas, and first I'd like to thank you for, on behalf of my kids, Noah, Corbin, and Ethan, because they spent a lot of time here. And I'm glad that they did, and I'm glad that we weren't part of it. I wanted it to be theirs. I wanted for them to have that opportunity to kind of own that relationship at this congregation. And then after a while, we decided, hey, actually, I came kicking and screaming, to be honest. But Lorianne loved the fact that whenever we came, she felt really welcomed and cared for. And so after a while, I figured if it's really important for her, it's going to have to be important for me. So the fact that we've been here for just less than a couple of months, at the same time as Mark, one of the things I appreciate about this congregation is its willingness to risk. When I went to Mark about the idea of Elevate, and I really didn't think that anybody would key in on it. It was a special time for my kids when we did it at the other congregation that I was at in Orange County, and I thought, there's not a lot of places here that has a basketball court. And, when Noah and Ozzy got married to that place, I'm thinking, God can do something here, and He has. And it's because of you. You took risk, and believe me, it was something like that, and kind of go for a small congregation, kind of go, is this something we really want to take on? And the fact that many did, it's just an amazing opportunity for the people out in our community to actually be part of this community in that way. And appreciate the fact that we have a 56 club, and I think for us it's time to have a 65 club, right? Anybody's welcome. You don't have to be 55 or 45, but I think it's a good opportunity to be able to live our lives as what David Brooks says, the second mountain, a life of eulogy. And I think there's no time to stop, right? Keep going. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jenny, also known as Maggie and Amir's daughter. I grew up coming to this church, and since then I've gone to a lot of different places, Virginia, Michigan, now Palm Springs. And even though I'm not coming here every Sunday, whenever I'm here visiting, just so many of you guys are coming and telling me how you've been praying for me. And I just want you to know that I feel those prayers. And I know that I'm not the only one in that situation. I'm sure that you guys are not only working in this community, but Palm Springs, other states, other countries. I'm sure of that. So thank you so much.
Last chance. Drew? Ben, are you going to say something? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Drew Rubelio. I'm the chair on the church council, and I just wanted to come up here and thank everybody this morning, and also thank just the whole congregation over the years for faithfulness. I wanted to bring everybody's mind back to the terrible pandemic just briefly. I know we don't want to think about it too much, but there was a period of time when there was maybe 20 or 30 of us sitting on lawn chairs out in the courtyard, and that was Montecito Covenant Church for a period of time. And we got together and tried to think about how could we renew the church. That was before Mark came. And basically what it came down to is people were committed. We had people who were part of the search committee, and we went through a lot of names and a lot of hours, and we came up with Mark Severson, and he and Beth came, and they have been amazing since they've been here. Just even this past year, you guys have seen the amount of change that's happened in the church. Adam came up here, and I also ask you to remember back maybe a couple of years ago when Adam wasn't here, and I was the one running around trying to make the sound good, and it didn't sound very good. So it's been a tremendous change. Club 56, my kids also very much benefited from that years ago, and then it went away, and we're so happy that it's back. It really is an important part of what we do here. So there has been a lot of change and a lot of growth, and I think this is a real time of blessing for us. So I just wanted to thank everybody and remind everybody of that change.
Hi, I'm Ben. I work over there in the corner on the camera. I wanted to thank Montecito Covenant and thank all of you personally for being a really good harbor for the talents of college students. It's really easy for us in college to keep our talents dormant, to just sort of be taking in as passive observers everything that happens on a Sunday and everything that happens in our lives. And so for us to step into intern positions, you guys are really safe harbors for us to experiment with what we can do. You've let us cook for college students, which has worked out surprisingly well. You've let us man cameras, which are worth more than we can earn in like 3 or 4 years, which has also turned out rather well. And just in general, you teach us to be good ministers. You teach us to be good members of communities who are willing to give what they have rather than take in more. And it's really quite impactful. So thank you. Thank you all.
Hello, everyone. I'm Johnny. I wanted to say that I'm really thankful for this church community that meets my needs as a mom, as a wife, as a community member, and recently this year as someone who had my 3rd ACL surgery. I'd like to thank over 10 meals that were delivered in a short amount of time. I'd also like to thank all the support as a parent through the parenting groups where I can show up just as a mom and connect with others and not have any like shame or blame, or just be like, this is just what is difficult for me, and connecting in this stage of life is really powerful. There's not a lot of place in my life where I can just be a mom, or just be Johnny, or just show up as who I am and what my needs are. And I just want to thank everyone for providing a church community that meets my needs.
Well, it's wonderful to hear those stories, isn't it? As we gather together for a meal, there will be a prompt on the table that gives you a chance around the table to maybe share some of the reflections you have on the things that God has done in our community and in your life and around our community as well as a result of His presence with us along the way. There are a number of things to report on, and I know that there are dimensions of what are happening with women's Bible studies and the campus being used for AA groups that are coming in and grief share and all of those. Joel apparently is launching a 65 ministry. We just heard about that. And 50, yeah, what's that? yeah. So sign up. 65 and older, or is it 6th and 5th grade? I wasn't quite clear on that. Yeah. So, actually, 56 Club was mentioned, but 4th grade and younger on Tuesday nights has been, I think, 12 to 15 kids have been involved in that too. So all sorts of activity here, particularly on Tuesday nights, in addition to the practices during Elevate Leagues on Monday night and Tuesday night and Wednesday night. It's just been a rich place, and Ben mentioned the internship program, and one of the wonderful gifts that God has given us as a church. Mariah, we're so glad you shared what you did, and part of our church family community too. That is really a gift that we have, to have Westmont students and staff and faculty be part of the nature of what this place is, and it's just fun to see those college students be able to come in. Some come in as interns. This is just a really remarkable gift that President Beebe gave to a lot of ministries in this community, to be able to fund something so that interns could come to places and serve and be paid in those places by the funds that were raised by donors of Westmont. And we've just benefited from that. We have, I think, 8 or 9 interns that were here, and then those that are looking for a place to park their car, which is a high priority for first year and second year. We've just said, guess what? We have a parking lot, and we have ways you can engage in ministry. And I don't know if you've noticed, at 8:20 on Sunday mornings, we have 18 to 20 Westmont students that gather together over in the fellowship hall and talk about what does it mean to live our life and follow Jesus and understand what that it looks like, and to be able to lead along the way too. So there's just been a richness that has pervaded this place in so many ways. And we're here this morning because we say to God, would you do it again? Would you do it again? Would you just continue to do those things? You know, as in October, last Sunday of October this past year, we looked at the text from the story of Ezra. It's really a remarkable story. The book starts out, and talks about God's people having this sense that they were to leave Babylon, which was a wonderful, rich place where the Jewish people had thrived actually in exile. Many of them had. And they say, we want to go back. We feel called to go back to Jerusalem to establish a place of worship there. So it was this parade of people that took the trip to Jerusalem and rebuilt the temple in that space. That's the first number of chapters. And then we get to Ezra chapter 7 and Ezra chapter 8, and we realize that some 80 years have gone by. And in the course of those 80 years, what happens to every organization essentially happened to the group of people in Jerusalem worshiping. It's a little bit like the story that Adam says, I grew up and I kind of did all the religious things, but there wasn't anything in us. I mean, every one of us have those stories, don't we? I mean, I grew up in a church, and it was just kind of, I was there all of the time, and I know I was formed in it, but there was a sense of, but God, you have something fresh and new for me in my life today. And God does have things that are fresh and new, not only in organizations, but in our own lives as people. And we asked the question last October, is it possible that God has given us the gift as a congregation of an inflection point? An inflection point where the trajectory of something is headed one way, and something happens at a point in time or in a season in the life of that organization or that church in which it seems like God wants to do something fresh and new that changes the trajectory of that group of people, and as a result, changes the trajectory of people's lives. That's what an inflection point is. And in Ezra, we see that happening there. There are a couple things we talked about. One is that inflection point people see things that others don't. In fact, it says in the text there, the gracious hand of God was upon us. They saw it. They had the sense it wasn't fireworks, but they just had this sense that the gracious hand of God is here. Inflection point people see things that would easily be missed. Subtle things, but it just seems like the gracious hand of God is with us. That's what they sensed. And we consider the possibility is, do we sense the same thing? Has God given us the gift of a moment in time where He wants to do something new and fresh in our lives together as a community and our lives together as individuals that change the trajectory of where we're headed? And then the other part of that characteristic of inflection point people is that inflection point people are those who find one another. It says they gathered together at the canal and they said, is this what God is up to? They gathered together and they decide to take God at His word, and they take bold steps. The temple had languished for some 80 years, and there was a sense that we don't want it to continue that way. We believe God wants to do something together. They gathered together with others. They decided we're going to take God at His word. He says He wants to be involved in our lives. He wants to use our lives. And then they took incredibly bold steps. You might want to go back and read chapter 7 and chapter 8. I mean, just the audacity of these group of people to be able to say, we're not going to live life the way we have, and to be able to move forward. At that point in time, I believe, I had the sense, we had the sense that God is giving us a gift here. And what we talked about that was next 2 years, we're 6 months, a little bit more than that into that right now, that we would be people that would take bold steps, really in two areas. One was a call for us to be even more actively present with one another, to make this our normal habit, to be able to gather together in this place with each other on a weekly basis, even more regularly than we have in the past, because that's the way we become community with each other. That's the way we hear stories with one another. That's the way our kids connect with one another. I love what you said about those 56 Club kids who said they gathered together with their 56 Club kids. How does that happen? It's because they hang out with one another. Then there's resolve to be able to say, I want my kids hanging out with other kids that are trying to do life in a way that would bring joy to them and honor to God. And if it's true for the kids, it's true for us too, right? We would just say, this is my place. I'm going to be together, and it might seem like a regular day, but inflection point people step into those spaces. And when people come to visit us, they say, whoa, there are others around, and it seems like they know each other and engage in one another's life. Just that sense of not only we know we're a community, but we express that visibly together. That calling for us to say for the next 2 years to be even more actively present with another in this place, as we are able. And the other one was to be even more generously involved in terms of being asked us. You're going to probably get asked again, right? But just say, yes, I want to be involved in this place. And even in terms of finances, to take that challenge on, to be able to say, for a season of time, all in on this, because it seems like God is doing something remarkable there. There have been a number of us as a community, who have said, I believe this is an inflection point. You know, my guess is that those people that gathered together at the canal before they took that audacious trip from Babylon to Jerusalem, they had no clue how it would turn out. It's not like when you're in an inflection point, you go, yeah, we're there. This is great. It's a party. It's not a party. It's a resolve. And it's a belief that God is up to something and that He has given us the privilege of being a part of what He's up to so that it will actually take place. This is what we're doing, friends. It's hard work. It's audacious. It's bold. And it's day to day and week to week. But I think there's just a sense that by God's gracious hand, He's given us this privilege. And you've stepped into it. You have stepped into it. Who knows where God will take us next? But it's because of that sense of calling that God has given to each and every one of you. God's faithfulness is great, and there's a tradition around here and other places at a particular moment in time that God's people gather together and they sing a rich old hymn called Great is Thy Faithfulness. So before we head out the door and head towards a meal together, all of you are welcome there. We're going to sing and worship together. Dave, would you please lead us?
We'll get to the hymn. Can we stand together? Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways, and step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. All I have need, thy hand hath hold. Oh, let me start that over, because I'm not a
No, that's not, we don't start it over, we just keep singing.
Yeah, let's just start that over. You say it. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not thy mercies, they fail not. As thou sayest forever with thee. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Let's go on, Ethan. Let's do the next verse. Summer and winter, springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars, and mercies above, join with all nature and witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, your mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Do we have another verse? Pardon for sin, memories that endure. Thy own dear presence to share and to guide. Strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 reasons. chorus. Great is thy faithfulness.